Welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time out today and attending this webinar. This is the first of multiple webinars that we are going to come across. And in today's session, Professor Raskar will be talking about multiple things like how is the research landscape in AI changing? What are the kind of future careers that are opening up because of the development in AI? His own work in AI, and like before he actually joins the call, I just wanted to give you all a quick background of what he does and the kind of questions that you can prepare so that you're ready to ask him a lot of questions when he's actually on the call. Again, thanks a lot for taking out the time. To give you a brief information about Professor Raskar, he is a distinguished leader in the domain of technology and innovation. He's a director of MIT Media Lab, where we'll be spending the most of our time when we are at Boston. He's also associate professor at MIT, and he has made significant contribution to various fields, including camera technology, machine learning, eye care devices, and the list just continues. And when I say that he has done a lot of work in camera technology, the kind of projects that he has worked on is he has captured the speed of light in a photograph, which was quite famous. You probably would have come across this picture. It was in a Coca-Cola bottle. He tried to click a picture of how light travels. He has also worked on multiple projects like, for example, let's say if there's a wall and if somebody is walking over here, how do you perceive that the person is in motion on the other side of the wall without actually looking? Then he has done a lot of work on concepts like three-dimensional AI or decentralized AI and different AI agents, and he'll talk more about that. So in case if you have any questions regarding any computer vision, machine learning, and how AI is progressing, feel free to ask a lot of questions to him. Continuing, his work has been recognized globally with numerous awards, including the Lemelson Award, and he has over 125 US patents in AI under his name. By the way, Lemelson is also the place where we'll be spending the first 2 days of our Boston immersion. And Lemelson is famous for their invention education. So we'll be spending a lot of time over there with Dr. Lei and her teammates at the MIT Lemelson Foundry. Professor Raskar has worked with prominent organizations, including Facebook, and has been featured in the New York Times, CNN, BBC, and the list again continues. So I would highly recommend everyone to jot down questions for him. He has worked a lot in this area for the longest time. So feel free to ask questions to him. I would also encourage everyone to talk about his method of problem spotting and problem finding, which he called as a spot and probe, because he has worked on so many projects. Like, how do you even come up with so many projects or how many problems to solve, right? So he had this framework called as a spot and probe, which he uses to identify what kind of problem statements are good projects to solve. How do you go about solving them? What's the best way to approach that problem and actually come up with a powerful solution? So, so these are the kind of things that you can actually ask him about. Any questions anybody have before we start? And we will let him in by around 6:45. But before that, anybody wants to ask any questions about his profile or anything, we just want you to we just wanted to prep you up before you actually have a conversation with him. And another thing that I would like to mention is during the camp, whatever problem statements you all will be working on, and we'll be starting the problem statement identification very soon. I assume that each one of you is already completing the session for the AI Essentials Bootcamp, right? All right. So once that part is done, as May starts, we will start coming up with problem statements to solve. We'll be vetting those problem statements by Professor Raskar, and when we go there, we'll be having multiple sessions with him, which will be like one-on-one, where you'll be pitching your ideas and he'll be giving you advice on how it could be how it can improve, what are the kind of things that you can change or modify in your problems. So the reason why we are doing this webinar right now is so that you can actually, it's easier to talk to him when you meet him in person over there. So I would advise everyone to put their cameras on, put your speakers off, but you can keep your cameras on so that, there's a sense of familiarity when you actually go there and meet him. So that's one request that I would have from all the participants of the AI fellowship. Any questions, anybody? And also, in case, let's say, if he's talking and you have any specific question, feel free to talk about it in the chat, and then we will consolidate it. And even if, let's say, he doesn't have time to address all those questions in the time that we have today, we will ensure that we'll get back to you via emails, or we'll call you back so that we ensure that all the questions are answered. So yeah, that was from my side. We should be starting in the next like 2 to 3 minutes. We're just waiting for him to join, and super excited. And I would urge you all to make the most out of this interaction. Anybody, any questions on this particular interaction or anything else? Feel free to reach out to me on the chat, and we'll start soon. Till he's joining, and because anyways we're going to start with the whole identifying the problem statement bit of it. How many of you have already started thinking about your own ideas? Can I get a thumbs up, or like, oh wow, a lot of you have actually started doing that. That's really cool. And can everyone put in the chat on what are the domains that you all are working on? Can I get everybody's domain in which you want to figure out a problem statement in the chat box? Okay, computer vision. Okay, when I say domains, we always have to think about technology is a means to solving your problems, right? The problems could be in any domain, like for example, healthcare, finance, and computer vision, or natural language processing, or robotics, or AI is a means or a method through which you're solving that problem. So when I say domain, I want domain which are from the application point of view. So can I get the answers in the chat as to what you all want to? Oh, education, that's cool. Robotics, okay. Nirvan, like in robotics, like what exactly? Like how do you want to use robotics? Like if you get to solve any real world problem, what domain would you solve it in?
So yeah, for the robotics, recently I made a hand glove sign language translator. So
Oh, wow.
basically, in real time, it's translates the sign language into words. So there's a screen on the glove, and it uses like AI and stuff to translate sign languages into different words like hello, bye, stuff like that for
Okay.
disabled, like deaf and dumb people.
Oh, wow. So is it currently only recognizing specific words, or can it form
Yeah,
sentences?
yeah. Currently, it's in the prototyping stage. It's not so high end, so it's only recognizing specific words based on the code, which you can edit. So I'm going forward and building that and getting it to a high level.
Very cool. AI for rescue. Okay, that's interesting. And what about everyone else? What are the kind of domains are you all working on? And I'm really glad that I don't think any of there's no overlap, honestly. Like everybody is working on something new. And nobody in like sustainability or environment, nobody in sport. Okay, chip design. Okay, that's quite interesting. Financial models, sports. Okay, somebody is doing sports. That's cool. LiDAR and facial recognition. Oh, all right. Other than like nobody in like art, is anybody doing anything in art?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, um, yeah, it's like more of an like art therapy kind of.
Oh, that's cool. And what's the medium?
No, I'm not really sure yet.
Understood. So the ideation is still happening. All
Yeah.
right. And the other thing that I wanted to tell everyone, so Professor Oscar is just trying to join in, and as soon as he joins, we'll let him in and we'll start. But before that, if you have any idea and you want to start discussing that with the mentor so that we can, start early, in case you have your ideas formed, feel free to reach out to us via emails, or you also have this, when you are in your AI boot camps, just let your mentor know that you have thought about the idea. Spend some like 10-15 minutes extra after the class. Just start explaining your idea so that we can start forming a proper problem statement. And the most painful part about doing any project in AI is honestly finding the good data set. And if you don't have a data set, then we need to train one. So, in case you have not thought about anything, start thinking. And in case you have thought really well about your problem statement, start writing an email and send it to us so that we can start like defining it properly. Like you all know that by the end of this program, we'll be creating that AI prototype and we'll also be applying for multiple awards. And when it comes to awards like ICEF or IRIS or DINA or CREST, we will let you know which award is the best suited for the kind of project that you're building. Because each award has their own criteria, right? Like, for example, if you're doing healthcare, ICEF is the best model. If you're doing a lot of data collection and testing, then ICEF is a good option. But if you're doing something in business, then Conrad is a better option. And these are all internationally recognized awards. So we'll guide you for that. But in order for you to get any award or be to move ahead in that particular space, um, having a good problem statement is extremely important. So we'll be spending a lot of time in actually defining a good problem statement. So in case if you already have a good idea, send it to us, and we'll start that as soon as possible. You don't, because I said May, you don't need to wait for that long. In case if you have an idea, start writing to us so that we can start tightening the problem statement that you have.
So would it be possible to work in teams for a project, or does it have to be a solo per person?
Oh, it has to be a solo project. So every student will be building their own individual project. So it's not a team project.
Yeah, sorry. I started the AI bootcamp a bit late and I was missing a few sessions due to other stuff. But is it okay if like we just start ideating? Because like
Yeah. Start
I don't know.
ideating in case if you feel like, okay, this is something, these are the few concepts that you need to know or learn, then we can recommend you those readings and stuff like that. So it's completely okay, even if you have not started your AI bootcamp, because a lot of you are in grade 10th, you can still start ideating with us. And okay, without further ado, I can see Professor Raskar is here with us. And we can actually start the session. So I've already prepped up all the scholars about you and your profile and the kind of work that you do, and we are really glad that you got the time to interact with them, and all the scholars are pretty excited to have this conversation with you. So without further ado, we can start the session. Over to you, Professor Raskar.
Fantastic, Joy. It's so wonderful to see everybody, and also nice to see all the amazing scholars who are very excited about AI and emerging technologies. What an amazing era we live in, where you could be in high school and start building things and get things out there. It's a very exciting time to be a teenager. Honestly, I wish I was at your age right now. And as you know, a lot of my research at MIT has been about inventing new kinds of AI that are not invented yet, right? Because what we see in the in newspapers and what we see in blogs is usually what people are working on today. But the question is, what are we going to work on in 6 months from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And I want you to start thinking about what that journey is going to be for the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to be an exciting journey. I know there's a lot of doom and gloom. Sometimes people bring in about AI and emerging technologies, but don't believe any of that. I think it's going to be, a fantastic, glorious future as long as your generation makes sure that you're up to date and you don't become consumers of technology, but creators of new technology. So with that, let me see if we should talk about something more.
Okay, till we are getting a few questions in the chat, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I talked about the spot and probe method and the kind of method, because I told them that you have over 125 US patents, with you. So how do one actually come up with a good problem statement? How do you know if it's a good problem statement or not? So can you take us through that journey of how you identify a problem and how do you know it's worth solving, and that journey that you go through?
Yeah, I think it's very important to realize that when you live in an environment where you encounter any problems, your first reaction shouldn't be, "Oh man, this is it's such a problem," and start complaining about it. But your first reaction should be, "Hey, if there's a problem, there's an opportunity. How can I solve it?" So you have to just kind of train your brain that every time you see something annoying, something problematic, your immediate reaction is, how can I solve it? What can be the solution for it? And if you just start doing that on a daily basis, in a couple of weeks, you'll be like, hey, you're constantly coming up with new ideas and constantly thinking about how to solve it. That's number one. Number two is don't be shy about sharing your ideas openly with everybody you know. Okay. Don't worry about, hey, this is my idea, other people are going to steal it. There's nothing like that. You're the only one who understands what that idea is. But as you start talking to other people, it'll only get refined, it'll get better. Maybe you'll find a good teammate and you'll, mix and match those ideas. So it's very critical to just kind of jump in and start brainstorming and create a group of people with whom you feel very comfortable constantly brainstorming. And that's how you're going to come up with, really good ideas. Also learn about very quickly, I mean, the thing with ideas and invention is that, majority of them, I would say 99% of them are actually not that good. So if you just hold on to it, you don't know whether you're in that 1% good area or the 99%, not so good area. And so it's very critical to just hash it out, put it out there, put it in social media, but at least talk to your friends in person and see where this goes. And then constantly read. And again, it's the same thing when you're reading something online, don't read it like a consumer. Read it like a challenger. Like if your reaction to every article has to be, I think what they're doing is interesting, but either I can do it better or there's a problem with it. So you constantly has to be in this analytical mode. We're constantly challenging and analyzing what rest of the world is telling you.
So I have a question. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so hi, my name is Aryan, and you said that you had like 125 patents, right? So all of them are registered in the US, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
So when like thinking of like your inventions or anything that you actually make, is like how you can make it a patent one of the factors? Because for example, if you create something and you go and like try to get it patented, but it's already there, then what do you do? Like, would you try and improve on it, or would you try and think of something else, like another solution for the idea?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wouldn't, it doesn't make sense to start with an idea and focus on it being a patent. That's not the goal at all. You should create something that's, you know, that's um, that's interesting and exciting, and a byproduct of that is a patent. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about starting with patent as your main goal. That doesn't work out often. As I said,
Because, like,
99% of the ideas you come up with may not be ready for something that's patentable, and usually you have to reduce it to practice anyway. So when you start actually building it and exploring it, you either realize that actually it doesn't work, or that there are a lot of other people who have done similar things, and you have to combine some other ideas. So I wouldn't make patents as your main goal.
yeah, because
Maybe
I
a paper, maybe a research paper, maybe a research blog, maybe even a YouTube video on explaining it is probably kind of my primary goal.
Rian, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, hi. I'm currently in eighth grade, but how much time does it take for you to like finish the projects that you have started?
I mean, if you're doing a software project, as you know, you can do it in a matter of days or weeks. And if it's a robotics and physical project, they're really good simulators. Like I don't know if you use Mojoku and other software, so you can get the conceptual implementation very quickly. Something that you can explain to other people or demonstrate to other people. So you have to kind of also break down your project, not just into like, oh, I have an idea and here's a finished project, but you have all the steps in between, right? You have a wireframe, you have a conceptual diagram, you have an early prototype, you have a refined prototype. If you're in a real company, there is something called PVT, DVT, like design validation, product validation, and things like that. See, there are many stages of what you build, and at every stage, it's a lot of fun. So you may know about like when Pixar makes a movie,
Y-
like an animation movie,
Yeah.
they watch the whole team, like thousands of people making the movie, watch that movie every Tuesday. Okay. First week, it's just somebody gets on a stage and says, I'm going to read the script. Okay. In a few weeks, there's some sketches drawn, and they create a movie out of it. Say scene one, there's this character, and so on. And then over some week they start rendering it and so on. So every week, every Tuesday, everybody gets together and watches the movie end to end and provides feedback on every scene. right? And that's why those movies are so refined. So you can say, every week is a project goal for them. And this goes on
How
for
much
5 years.
how much troubleshooting did it take for you to completely finish your projects?
I mean, it's never finished, but it's the classic 80-20 rule. You can get 80% of it done in the 20% of the time, but the last 20% takes additional 80% of the time. So, the polish always takes longer. But yeah, you have to constantly debug, you have to come back. And also, project doesn't end. You start version 2 of it, or you merge it with some
Yeah.
other idea, and so on.
Thank
Aryan,
you.
Ganeja, um,
Yeah. Hi, sir. I have two questions for you. My first question is that nowadays people keep talking about how AI has a real world impact, right? So my question is, apart from testing, how can you truly measure the real world impact of an technology like AI on our planet? Like, how can you assess its actual impact?
Hmm. How do you assess it? I'm curious how you assess it.
According to me,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I'd say the first thing to do is send out a survey, understand how many people would actually need to use an AI like this, and then maybe
Hmm.
conduct testing with them, primary testing, user testing, things like that, to understand whether this AI would be beneficial long term.
I think you're going in and out.
Sorry.
yeah, we missed the last part of what you said.
Okay, so I was just saying that user testing, sending out surveys are some ways of finding out. Though my question is during the ideation stage, while thinking of a solution, how can you know to what extent it would actually impact people and how you can shape your AI to create the most real world impact?
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, impact is basically intensity times frequency. So you could invent like a really cool calendar solution and it impact billions of people, but only a little bit, maybe 1 minute you save 1 minute of their life. So that's low intensity but very high frequency. But you can also have high intensity, low frequency. Maybe you invent a new cancer drug that only helps maybe a few thousand people, but really saves their life, right? So impact is intensity times frequency. And so, there's no correct answer to it, but you have to think about the product of the two should be pretty high.
Yeah. And also, my second question is based on your statement that you just made that you would wish you were a teenager in this generation. So, if you were starting today as a student, what skills would you prioritize while learning AI?
Wow, you guys ask tough questions. I mean, I think, as I said, software is really, really moving very fast. So I think kind of AI is a given. And everybody has to be extremely proficient. So whether you're doing chemistry or biology or robotics or planetary sciences, whatever you're interested in, you have to be extremely strong in AI going forward. So I would say just become like, you know, a really, really good AI researcher, AI developer as a base, and then you're ready to explore any area that you want to move forward because um, you know, uh, what we mean by AI will continue to change over time, but it's probably the most important skill to build right now. So what you're doing is the right thing already.
Okay, Vishan.
Hello, sir. I'm in ninth grade. So my question was, what's your approach to diagnosing and learning from failures in AI models?
So I didn't hear the first sentence.
I want to ask, what's your approach to diagnosing and learning from failures in AI models?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, the technology has changed quite a bit. There was a time when you would look at, kind of validation set and holdout sets, and are they converging or not, and are you overfitting a function? Do you need augmentation of your data and things like that? But things are changing now. You can create separate validation tests, separate unit tests for all of it, right? Of course, you can do self-supervised learning now as opposed to creating supervised learning methods. Often you can use LLM as a judge to see if your project is going the right direction. So there's so many new ways to debug and check failures of your model. But I would say even today, it's not possible to do it completely automatically. I'm the inventor of, AI that self-learns, improves, self-learning AI. We invented back that in 2015. And back then, our philosophy was there'll be another teacher model, like a teacher model and a student model. But that's not true anymore because you can just put them in agentic workflows now, these AI models, and improve there. So I think today's gold standard is kind of agentic workflows for validating AI models, but it doesn't really matter. As long as you're starting with a few approaches, you can start learning about other approaches for validation, debugging, conversions, error rates, whether, especially if you're doing self-learning, what's the limit condition, things like that.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir, I'm Nirvan from 10th grade. My question is a bit more practical standpoint. So I wanted to ask whether when you're developing a project, regardless you're using AI or not, and it's just not working, like your prototype's not coming along, your code has multiple errors, it's not getting fixed. At what point do you keep continuing? Do you keep pushing or do you move to another idea, another project?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends on, if the mission is big enough. If the mission is big enough, it's probably good to kind of, change the path. It's like if a fly is hitting a glass wall. If you keep hitting the glass wall, it's not going to help. But then sometimes you have to see there's another route to fly around the glass wall, right? So the glass wall can be very, very confusing for a fly because it thinks it's transparent and it should be possible to go through it. But sometimes the glass wall is really a wall. So you have to kind of go around it. So if you keep that kind of mental picture, that the mission might remain the same, but you have to figure out, do you go around the wall? When you go around the
Different
wall,
ways.
are you changing the problem or are you changing the solution?
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Neil?
Yes, sir. Hello, I'm Neil, and I have two questions. The first one is that you worked on AI for healthcare and social impact, such as Natra and RedX. What's the next problem you would like to see the AI community tackle?
Yeah. The biggest project we're working on is called the Internet of AI Agents. So just like back in the 90s, there were PCs, but there was no Internet of PCs. And Tim Berners-Lee at MIT is the one who kind of, formulated of what that fundamental building blocks will look like. The same thing we're doing now for AI. We're seeing the Internet of AI is where the new intelligence is going to emerge.
Yep. Thank you, sir, for your answer. And my
And
second
look at the project we're doing in India called DigiDut. We're trying to create an AI agent for every Indian citizen.
Yes, sir. And
I'll put
my
it in the chat.
sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You in look like in 10 years for AI, not in terms of benchmarks, but human life changed?
You just went through quickly. Can I say it one more time?
Sorry. What does success look for you in 10 years for AI from now? Not in terms of benchmarks, but in terms of human life changed.
Yeah. I think we're on a cusp of eliminating all preventable diseases. We're probably, on the cusp of making sure everybody gets quality education. We are on the cusp of creating AI scientists that will either become our co-pilots or, on their own can invent a lot of things for us, whether it's new materials, new algorithms, new mathematical formulas, and hopefully with that type of democratization of AI, hopefully livelihoods and poverty and climate and democracies will also be impacted. So there's a good chance that over the next 10 years, we have a very glorious future. There's also a risk that it falls in the hands of a handful of players. Maybe 5 companies in the world dominate all of AI, like the way they dominate search and social media and car industry and so on. That won't be good. So there's a hope that all of you, by the time you are, starting your companies or becoming a professor or becoming new scientists, you will have all the tools to make sure it's democratic and reaches, the population.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
We'll be having like one or two last questions. So Aryan, go ahead.
Yes, I have two more questions for you. So I wanted to ask you about where AI lies in education in the future. So if you look at it right now, what education was and what education is becoming has a huge gap, right? Because now AI is more than just, I mean, technology is more than just a source we can refer to, but a source that we can work with. So it is a tool that stands by us during our entire education journey. So do you think the
Mhm.
entire education model should be reshaped with AI? Or how do you think, or what do you think the future of education is?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a very exciting
Yeah,
future because there are people like me who like to learn all the time, and I cannot go through traditional you know mechanisms like going to school and doing homework and socializing and things like that. So what I would like, Aryan, is I can put a just a uh, uh, earbuds, and
yeah,
I have a tutor that walks with me all the time, saying, "Hey, I want to really understand, what's Fermat's theorem, and I just have 3 hours. Just help me." And it just keeps talking to me and looks at my environment and say, "Hey, look at you see this, prime numbers, like whatever." Right? It starts telling me stories, and it's very aware. It's like having, world's smartest tutor walking with me all the time, right? So I
exactly.
think I can
And
imagine like highly personalized AI tutors becoming part of our daily life. And so same thing with education. If you want to learn about chemistry, you might have a highly personalized tutor. Like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, it's with you
yeah,
all the time, and you can talk to it, saying, "Hey, I learned about this benzene ring. Can you tell me what the story is behind it?" And starts talking about it, and then say, "Hey, I'm just cooking. Is there anything in this kitchen that's interesting from a chemistry point of view?" And it's like, oh, you know what? Like you're reaching this boiling temperature, or this is a chemical reaction that's going on. And then, also spontaneously it could say, hey, as you're walking by this, you realize that those alloys that you're looking at is blah, 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 and so on. So it just becomes a very immersive experience,
yeah,
to learn about chemistry. And I think we are very close to creating this highly personalized, not just AI tutors, but highly personalized AI tutors. So that's kind of level one. The level two is when it becomes a social AI tutor, which is saying, "Hey, Aryan, and hey, Nirvan, you guys are friends, and you're both learning about chemistry. I have an idea for both of you, right? So your AI agent and Nirvan's AI agent start talking to each other, and figures out some common activity, saying, "Hey, do you guys want to go to this, new show that's in town? That could be interesting for both of you," and so on. And then the third level is societal level. So first level is individual, then it's social network. The top is for the societal level. It's like so a TV channel starts showing ads about chemistry, saying, "Hey, looks like 10% of the population is interested in learning about chemistry, or there's something important happening," and so on. So you can imagine we're constantly surrounded by an ecosystem that's our friend, our tutor, our guide from an AI point of view. So you could imagine in the beginning, we'll get AI tutors as if they are kind of, your companions. That'll be very quickly. But then very soon we'll have social networks that will emerge for education. It's not social network where you're posting your like travel pictures and things like that, but it's a social network, it's a network of people interested in learning the same thing. And those will be called colleges and universities, by the way, in the future, right? This automatically generated agent networks will be the future colleges and universities. Because you could be talking to somebody in Philippines because, they're the most ideal partner for you to learn from each other, right? So you'll have these virtual universities that you go to, but in fact, they're part of your life. And then over time, the society gets kind of oriented around that. So the first level and second level, which is individual, is probably going to happen very quickly, maybe in the next 5 years. And the social network, which is universities of AI agents, will also happen in around the same time frame. So it's going to be, I mean, people like you, people like me who are very curious, want to learn all the time. It's going to be very exciting. But also, a social network will make it very interesting for people who generally don't worry about learning some things. They're just, doom scrolling and watching stupid TV shows and, just gossiping about stupid things. They will also be interested in saying, "Oh, you know what? I want to learn about what's going on," and they'll have a mechanism to learn about it. So we'll get, not only 8 billion learners, but 8 billion teachers.
And so it's based on this that I just wanted to ask you another short question. That do you think data privacy or data concerns could become an issue with this? Because I've seen AIs that now replicate human personalities and dead people too. So do you think that could ever reach an extent or a point where it's actually dangerous for us to share our data?
Yeah, I should. Yeah, no, I think you're asking a very good question. I think it's going to be very challenging to make sure that the for-profit products that are being created are not based on extracting private data from us. 'Cause that'll shut down a lot of people. They won't be willing to share data if they realize they're being exploited.
Yeah.
Kishan, you want to go ahead?
Hi sir, my name is Kishan and I'm in grade 9. So I had a question about where does AI currently stand when it comes to hazardous condition, maybe like mining, firefighting, and where it put people's life in risk. I want to know where AI comes and benefits them.
Yeah, it's such an exciting area, Kishan. I hope you're going to work on that because the physical intelligence, so digital intelligence, of course, moving very fast, but physical intelligence is still emerging. And I would say that it's still very early days. I mean, computer vision barely works, robotics barely works. Working in hazardous condition doesn't work at all. So if there's fog or smoke or rain, or chemical fumes, a lot of the robotics and perception doesn't work yet. Of course, complicated terrains, are difficult to navigate. So we are kind of in the early phases of physical intelligence, but it's going to be a very exciting journey.
Thank you, sir.
Ria, I think this will be the last question. So Ria, can you go ahead?
Yes, thank you. My name is Ria. I'm from grade 8. Um, through like my research and trying to find my project as well, I just had a question. As AI systems become like better at interpreting real world data, like motion and images, how do we ensure that they provide meaningful feedback instead of just accurate predictions? Because even I am leaning towards building a kind of like a data coach where AI analyzes sports movement. So I would just like your opinion on that.
I would say that prediction is a very small piece of AI. You have planning, reasoning, action, rewards, and of course reward loops with reinforcement learning. So there are many aspects of it beyond prediction. So maybe in sports, if you're just trying to predict athlete behavior and so on, you could in the beginning start with prediction. That's a good starting point for sure, but there's so much more you have to do.
Yeah,
As
like
as
also addressing feedback and maybe like improvements that could go beyond just predicting the stroke, but more like bettering move, like arm swings, like bettering actions and
Yeah. Also reasoning, how do you do long-term planning? It's not just at that instant, but imagine 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after, what's going to happen.
yeah. Thank you so much.
So I have a question. So this is actually related to my field. So my field is robotics. I am also pursuing robotics as like a professional kind of thing and making something. So you've been hearing nowadays, I'm sure that AI is replacing software jobs. So, but what do you think it is connected to robotics? How do you think AI will replace robotics job? Like to what extent, like manufacturing or delivering and like stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't think AI is going to replace any jobs at all. It'll just substitute certain skills. Because if you take any job, some fraction of it can be substituted by AI, but not 100%, almost never. So AI will do skills displacement, but will not do job displacement. And so same thing with robotics. It will do some skills displacement, but will not do job displacement because most jobs are pretty complicated. Like 10 years ago, people said radiologists will be out of job, but turns out like reading X-ray scans is a tiny fraction of their job. A lot of it is about like coordinating with other doctors and so on. So I wouldn't worry too much about wholesale job displacement, but definitely there will be a lot of skills displacement. So if your job involves only 10% of skills that can be displaced by AI, you're pretty okay. But if job is going to, 90% of what you do can be displaced, with AI, your skills, then you might want to pick up some new skills to do that. But I think we are very far away from that in robotics. It's very, very far away. Even gripping and kind of fine motor manipulation, we are very far away. We don't even have enough training data to solve those problems. So people are building massive simulation engines to figure out how to actually even create the training data for robotic manipulation, but very, very far away from anything that's that's practical in 100% of the time.
Thank you,
So,
sir. Yeah.
so thank you so much. And I would like to add like one last question, because we'll be spending 10 days at Boston meeting the most amazing people. We'll be spending a lot of time with Professor Ramesh when we are there. If you have to give one advice to the scholars as to what could be the biggest takeaway from this program, and how can they make the most out of those 10 days at Boston, we would like to hear from you about that.
It's definitely one of the best times, of your high school career, to be surrounded in Cambridge with top universities, some of the best research labs. It's just a great time of the year as well. A very beautiful city. You can see my house already. You can see some of the flowers that are blooming. And I think, you'll make great friends. I think the best way to prepare for that is just read up a little bit about all the top universities in Boston area and see what they're doing, and see if you can just walk around and see those labs, try to meet those people. It's not always possible because summertime, so people might be traveling. But even if you just go and see the lab from outside, it's quite inspiring to do that.
Thank you so much, Professor Ramesh Raskar, for spending the evening for your mornings with us. And we are super excited to meet you in person at Boston. Thank you. And remember, like the last time, anybody has any questions or problems, or if you want to discuss your problem statements with us, do send us an email, and we'll be getting back to you. And in case if you don't know what you're going to build, it's okay. Like just send us and we can ideate together and figure out what problem statement you'll be solving. And thank you so much for taking the time out, you all as well. I know that a lot of you are in grade 10 preparing for exams and everything. So thanks for spending your time. We will keep you updated on the next masterclass that we'll be having, and who will be the speaker. And what I'll do is I'll also send you the brief before, so that you all are prepared with your questions. And in case you have any question, you can just send it to us, so that we can also brief the speaker up, the guest speaker about it. And thank you so much, and have a great evening ahead. Bye.